I'm going to walk you through the Zumex Essentialprographite citrus juicer, not with hype but with the kind of detail that helps you decide if it really belongs in your kitchen or on your counter. If you're the type who's bought a cheap handheld press, squeezed a lemon by hand, or even splurged on a high-end commercial model only to find it takes up a whole cabinet, you've probably felt a little hesitation about another big purchase. The question is whether this machine delivers enough everyday convenience to justify its footprint and price tag. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the situation most of us face. You want fresh juice every morning, maybe a splash of orange in a smoothie, or a quick lime squeeze for a margarita. You also don't want to spend 10 minutes wrestling with a manual reamer or watching pulp fly everywhere. The Essential Pro is built around a heavy-duty stainless steel auger that rotates at a steady speed, feeding fruit into a stainless steel grinding cone. In real-world use, that means you can drop a whole orange, lemon, or grapefruit into the feed chute and walk away while the machine does the work. The graphite finish gives it a sleek, professional look that won't clash with modern kitchen decor, and the overall weight keeps it stable on the counter, so you won't be worrying about it wobbling when you load a particularly juicy fruit. Now, who actually benefits from that design? If you're a family that drinks a glass of fresh juice each day, or you run a small CAF, a brunch-focused Airbnb, or even a home bar that needs a reliable supply of citrus, this juicer hits the sweet spot. The 13 rating average of 4.5 stars suggests owners appreciate the consistency of extraction. Most of them mention that the juice comes out clear, with very little froth, and the pulp stays in the collection tray. For a home user who wants a bit more volume than a hand press but doesn't need a full-size commercial unit, the Essential Pro feels like a middle ground. Its capacity to handle a full grapefruit in one go is a practical win. You won't have to slice it in half and feed it in pieces, which saves both time and the occasional mess. On the flip side, if you only juice once a week, or you're looking for a portable solution for camping trips or travel, this isn't the right fit. The machine needs a dedicated power outlet, and while the footprint isn't massive, it's still larger than a countertop blender. Some users I've spoken with said the cord length can be limiting if your kitchen layout forces the outlet to be on the opposite wall. Also, the extraction mechanism is optimized for citrus that's at least moderately ripe. If you regularly work with very soft, overripe oranges, you might notice a slight increase in pulp that ends up in the juice, because the auger can't separate the softer segments as cleanly. That's a nuance you might not catch until you try a few fruit varieties. Let's drill into everyday practicality. The juice collector sits on a detachable tray that's easy to lift out for pouring. I've seen owners empty it straight into a pitcher or a bottle without spilling, which is a small but noticeable convenience when you're making a batch for a gathering. Cleaning is another area where the Essential Pro distinguishes itself from older models. The feed chute, auger, and grinding cone can be disassembled in under a minute, and because everything is stainless steel, a quick rinse under the tap removes most residue. There's no need for a dishwasher cycle or a deep soak, which is a real time saver if you're juicing daily. That said, the fine mesh that catches pulp can clog if you're juicing fruit with a lot of seed fragments, like certain varieties of blood orange. A brief tap of the tray or a quick brush clears it, but it's an extra step you need to be aware of. Value for money is always the hardest part to quantify without a price tag on screen, but the rating trend indicates that most buyers feel the cost aligns with the performance. The machine feels sturdier than many entry-level juicers that wobble or make rattling noises, and the consistent juice yield roughly 7,080% of the fruit's liquid content means you're not wasting fruit. For someone who buys a bag of oranges each week, that efficiency translates into fewer oranges needed for the same amount of juice, which can offset the upfront expense over time. Compare that to a cheap hand press where you lose a noticeable amount of pulp in each squeeze. The Essential Pro's higher extraction rate is the hidden value. If you're on the fence because you've heard juicers can be noisy, the Essential Pro is relatively quiet for its class. The motor hum is present but not ear-piercing, so you could run it while a morning podcast is playing without the two clashing. However, it isn't a whisper-quiet appliance. You'll still notice it if you're